Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine. It's time for the silver and gold sketch with me, and I found a sketch from May of 2020 to use this time because I thought it just brought up a really interesting challenge. The sketch itself was kind of busy, but I really wanted to just kind of highlight some of the main points of it. And I did pull in a couple of punches that I will show you in a minute. One of them was the Baroque flourish punch. And then I also did pull out our tag punch, the bevel tag punch as well. The sketch will be linked in the description box below. And I hope you all will enjoy seeing my version of this sketch. Here is our sketch. And I've gone ahead and written out a lot of my cutting, but I will also put it in the video like I usually do with my recorded videos. But you'll see this sketch is definitely a bit busier. It does have a lot going on around here, and this kind of to me said maybe use the tag punch, but then over here we had all this going on, and I thought, you know what, let's do the tag punch on one side and let's do the damask floral frame punch on the other side, and that will give us some really pretty pages without being too much. So on the frame punch, you just line up your 12 by 12 paper with the line here, and then you move it either left or right depending on which way works easier for you, making sure the back of your paper stays with the ledge on the punch here. And then you match up your design after you punch, and you get what I've done here. So you can see I've already pre-cut our papers just to kind of make things flow a little bit easier. And you can see here where I've picked our, let me scoot some of this over a little bit here. You're gonna see the next page is definitely a little bit busier. And I did use the 3-in-1 bevel tag punch for it, and I'll explain a little bit more about that coming up as well. But here I just took my 12 by 12 paper. I picked this lovely silver with the flourish design on it. It has the lines on the back, which also probably would look nicely, but I do like the little extra in the design here. I am using on both sides as the base the foiled silver star page. It has kind of a matching flourish design on the back, but instead of putting it this way with the stars flowing down, I liked the idea of having them flow in. So let me grab my parchment board and let's go ahead and start putting some pieces onto our page here. So like I said, this was an entire 12 by 12 sheet. I'm using some of my repositionable tape just to make sure my flourishes stay down nicely. Turning the page as I go on my parchment board here. And now I'm going to grab some of my regular tape runner to go through the other part of the page here, just to make sure everything stays down nicely. And we're gonna, oops, uh-oh, that's a first. My electrical tape was coming up a little bit. I do use electrical tape to hold my parchment on to my board, and electrical tape is one of the few things that'll stick to parchment. We're not baking with it, so it really doesn't matter. And you can see how this just frames inside the page just really nicely. So go ahead and line it up and stick it down. I'm pretty sure, let me grab my thing here. Yep, I just used the 12 by 12 on this side. So, I mean, if you want to take off an extra inch and make it a little bit smaller, you can, but I wanted to use, so I took one page of the foiled leaf that has the geometric design on the back, And I cut 3 4x6 that we're going to use on this left side of the page, and 4 4x4 mats from one piece of paper. And then what's left is actually going to get used in our scrap card. So you'll see that coming up in just a minute. But basically what I did was I cut 4x12 twice. And then I turned it and I cut my 4x6. I did one at 4x6. And then basically that gave me the two 4x6 pieces. So first you're cutting this way, and then you're going to cut this way, and you're going to get your 2 4x6 pieces. And then I took it and I cut it again, and I did whoops, this is going to be the wrong way to show you, but I did I'd done the 4 inches by 12 inches. I turned it. I did the 4x6. I did a 4x4. And so then that left a little 2x4 piece coming off the end of that one, which was fine for our purposes. And then I got 4 4x4s, actually 3. Well, I did 3 essentially because we got 1 off the second row. And then when you turned it again at 4x12, you turn it and you cut it twice at 4 inches. So you get the 4x4s, and I hope I explained that well. If you have any questions, just put it in the comments. It's one of those things where, I'm trying to cut things ahead so that way you all don't have to see me do all the cutting, and then some of it, I do try to conserve the paper. And so that's what you got here. Is using one sheet on both sides, and then you will see what else I've done, because essentially we're using 2 of the foiled sheets for the base. We're using 1 for our photo mats here. Let me see if I get these lined up. I don't want to press down on it until I know I have them placed. Of course, you can always use your multi-purpose tool to kind of help with your placement. You can get out your 13x13 mat and use that to help with the placement. But if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I do tend to eyeball things a bit. And I just kind of want to get this one lined up maybe just a little bit more than usual here. Oops. All right, so that one is sticking just a little bit. There we go. So here I've got about 3/4 of an inch running down this middle part here, and about a 1/2 inch through this other part. Okay, so that looks straight. Whoops, I don't know why this top one keeps on bugging me here. Here we go. All right, that looks pretty good. And I know in the sketch, they do have this one angled a bit, but I didn't want to do that. I mean, if you want to do that on your sheet, you can. It's up to you. I know I've said it before also, sketches are kind of suggestions. They're to give inspiration, and you can interpret it the way you want to interpret it. And so this is my interpretation. If you want to interpret it ever so slightly different, go for it. I need to find a way for you all to share me your interpretations of that. Okay, so this is the right side of our page, and we're done because I think we just have so much going on. We have all the foiling that's just gorgeous. And let me make sure that I'm getting this well on the camera for you all here. There we go. And now comes the left side of the page, which is definitely a little bit more pieces because I did go with a little bit more in the background, and I also did add a mat. So I did cut 2.5 inches by 11 inches. So you already have seen these pieces from the foiled leaf page that I cut the 4x6 mats out of. I added a mat here. This is just one with a rickrack design. I just thought it complemented our leaves nicely. I pulled out a embellishment real quick. So again, using the foiled star page as my base. And the same paper I used for the other one with the Damask Flourish Punch, I used for my tag punching. And like I said, I did 4 tags. I did both the top and the bottom. So this was 2.5 by 11 inches. And then I just put it centered into our 2.5 inch row on our tag. I punched both the top and the bottom of the paper once I had my strips. And let me get these eyeballed here so I can get them stuck down, and then we can continue on with our next layer. Because as most of you know, I don't usually layer a lot. But since this one, I mean, they even have an extra layer underneath here, but I just liked having the stars showing. So that's what I wanted to do. And I am actually going to use, I think, the repositionable tape for these, because I think it's going to be a lot easier to get these tags placed, because these I think are going to be a little bit more challenging even than our 4 squares were, just by the way that they're running and to get the placement just right. And like I said, you can definitely pull out your 13 by 13 mats if you want to do this exact, or even your 0 centering ruler. But we know that we have 2.5 inches width, and we know we have 11 inches, so we're going to come down and center it from the top and the bottom, and then over in here about 1/2 inch from the edge here, and then I've got about, looks like maybe 3/4 at the top and the bottom here. So if I get this one placed first, and again, I'm not going to push down on it just yet, because I do want to get them placed first and make sure, whoops, I put that one upside down. I kind of wanted my flourishes going up and down. So here's about 1/2 inch. That's going to be about 3/4. That's lined up pretty well. Let me get my multi-purpose tool, because I don't think it's, no, it's not really sticking yet because I used the repositionable. So I'm going to turn this over so you can see, just I wanted the design running with the actual little flourishy crowns almost at the top. There we go. And almost put that one upside down again. So definitely your paper is directional. You do want to pay attention to that. Let's see here, if I give it about another 1/2 inch, line it up here. And let's see if we can do another 1/2 inch here. Nope, we're going to wind up with a little bit more than 1/2 inch. Okay. So just to kind of get it centered, this one, there's one that doesn't look quite straight. This one needs to go over to the left just a little bit. Oops, here we go. Okay, that looks better to me. So we've got about, this one's actually a little bit smaller. This one might be a little bit wider. I think we're right at about 1/2, close to 1/2 for each one of these. So I'm gonna go ahead and push them down. And there we go. Now, I pulled out this mat because I did want a journal box, and I know it's gonna cover up some of my tag, the bevel part anyways, but you can still get this really pretty end on it. And so I'm centering this a little bit kind of in the center, because in the original sketch we have the journal box over here, and that just didn't really work for me. I wanted to make sure I got my 3 larger pictures on the page as well. And then I also did want to use up a scrap. So let me get this in here. So these two kind of do hit the edge of the page, but they're going to be a little bit offset, coming down here. Actually, this one went over this a little bit. Okay. And then I had an extra scrap from the flourish paper, and on the back side were these lines, and I just thought this added an extra little interesting feature for the top of our page here. And so this is going to go right around here. Okay, so this one does kind of butt up to the other one down here. It kind of butts up to both of them because of course we have 6 inches going across. I'm going to go ahead and place my mat first, and then I will get the other mats going. So this was just from our mat pack, and they do have some really pretty foiled mats in this silver and gold mat pack this time as well. They are just really, really gorgeous. And this one's going to go down here, kind of hitting the edge of our page a bit, so that way we don't have to do as much layering or trimming here as we put this other one kind of a little bit offset. Let me get this one down next. And here we go. Because I was going to put this in between here, so let me put this up just a little bit more. And of course, this is one of our layered embellishments from this pack, and I will put it on a foam square, so then again, when I go to put my pictures, I don't have to worry about layering things or having anything messing with my pictures. The pictures will be the star of the page. And when you use your frame punches, whoops, you get these little squares at the end of your page. And I thought, let's go ahead and use up some of those little squares as a design element on our page. So that's what this little box is kind of going to have in it. We have that, this is the side we used, and this was of course the lined side. And I am actually going to make these into diamonds going across, and I kind of want these two to be first. I looked at, okay, so I did look at the design, and I have 2 with more of a leaf shape on the end here. And then I have other ones that have more of the floral part in the center. And so I'm going to grab my repositionable tape because I want to get the 2 end ones done first. This one's going to go on top at the end, the center is. So we're working outside in. And this one is just going to kind of give a little bit of extra. It's kind of almost like adding an embellishment to the page or a sticker. But with this collection, we have stickers that are mostly border stickers. We only have really the embellishment pack. And I thought this at least gives a really pretty design element to the page, using up a scrap and paper that we already have. And it repeats our patterns that we have on our page, and it just looks nice. And you can put it across in squares as well if you kind of like that a little bit better than doing the diamond pattern. I mean, you don't have to, of course, do this at all, but I just wanted to give you an extra idea of what you could do with your scraps. And let's see here. There we go. So that one is definitely on top. And then when I placed these other 2, I kind of tucked them under the end points of the 2 end leaf ones. And then we have this one on top. And there you go. This one actually, the box was 2 inches by 5.5 inches because it was, like I said, just the scrap from doing the tags part of the page. And then there's 5 of the square scraps from using the punch. We have our journal box down here, and then I'm just putting this little embellishment on the page because I think we have so many other things on the page to keep people's interest. We want to make sure that the pictures are going to shine as well. So here we go with this one, and here is the left side of our page. I will hold it up closer for you here. And there you go. I think it's gorgeous as it is. Let me get these 2 pages on here side by side. Move some of this other stuff out of the way. And here we go. So you can see, I mean, that we definitely have enough interesting things without overdoing any of the stickers and embellishments. Here is the sketch again, so you can see how I interpreted it here. So that's it. I mean, if you want to find the sketch, you can look into the description box below this video. And I will have, oh, I've got to do our card next to show you what we're doing with our scraps here. So much fun. So using up some of our scraps, I'm going to grab out my 0 centering ruler so that way I can tell you some of the sizes of these pieces. I did grab out a blank card from our card kit, and I did actually take the last piece. Remember how I said we would have a 2" by 4" piece of that leaf, foiled leaf paper left? Well, this is it. And one of the nice things about our punch here is it also does have the black lines where you can center. The punch box is essentially 2 inches. So if you know that you're working essentially in 2" increments, then you can line this up, whether you're using it between the 2 black lines or if you're just going in and, let me open this up for you. So here I'll show you with the other side of the paper, but I'm not going to punch it because I only wanted the one side. But going in here, you can see where you can see the paper and you can get it centered, and then you can just punch to get the one flourish on your paper. And so that's what I did with that. We also had some scraps from our other piece of paper here. So I'm actually using this as the base on one side, and then I had some nice long stripes from the other side, so this will help lengthen our card. So I'm going to go ahead and start placing these on from the left here, and then our little flourish is actually going to go on top, and you're going to see it just kind of looks great with the other flourishes underneath it. Whoops. Okay. And our card base is a 5.5 by 4 1/4. So I did cut this down to 5.5, and the width on this one is 1 inch. So we have 1 inch by the 5.5 inches. Yes, there we go. Would help if I used my 0 on my ruler because that's what it's there for. So this is both of these are 1 inch by 5.5 inches for our linear effect there. And then for my damask part, it is the, let's see here, 2 inches by 5.5 again. And I really don't think I had many other scraps left. This one was mostly just from the designer paper, and it really worked out nicely to create a fun card. And I think just an all-purpose card. This actually would have been a really good New Year's card, or to send somebody maybe for a 50th wedding anniversary or special anniversary, or even a 50th birthday, or you know, if you know somebody that's got one of those fun 0 birthdays coming, that would be the time to send maybe a card like this. So I've got our, it's kind of offset. I think it's about, let's see here, I'll tell you, it's about 1.25 inches from the bottom of the card. And then we had this foiled Celebrate in our embellishment pack. I'm going to run it this way. You can see I kind of did leave a little bit of white space. Let me pick this up so you can see it even closer. I did leave a little bit of white space in here, but it really isn't super noticeable because if the way the design is and the way the card is, and I think this is what I was trying to figure out. I think I'm actually going to center the Celebrate more to the right and then just leave the lines kind of on their own, because you can see where it kind of looks almost too busy over there, but over here it looks very just classy, like it's meant to be on the right side of this card. We're going to add some of our tape. If you want to use foam squares and bump it up even more, you can, but this is one of the embellishments that already is bumped up on its own. Dimensional, I guess that's the other word for it, maybe. So there we go. There is our scrap card for this collection with our Celebrate on it. And I think, like I said, that would be a great birthday card or however else you want to send it to somebody. Here is our 2-page layout again. And here is our card. Thank you so much for watching. Leave any questions or comments below if you have any. And I know our next collection will be coming soon, so you'll be seeing me again coming up. Until next time.